Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Oji. I am the pastor of Cutler Bay Worship Center right here in beautiful Cutler Bay, and this is the second time I'm talking to you today. First time, of course, was at church this morning. I hope you joined us. If you didn't, you can go back and check it out both on our Facebook and YouTube pages. But right now, we're talking about the book of Proverbs. Well, we're not so much talking about it, we're reading it, and I've been really enjoying these because it's good to just dig into the Word. It's good to look at what the Proverbs are saying. They're so full of wisdom. And so we're at the 7th of June, and so we're going to be looking at Proverbs chapter 7. Proverbs chapter 7 is going to sound a little bit like Proverbs chapter 5 and carry a little bit of what Proverbs chapter 6 says. If you've got one of those Bibles that has the titles at the top of the chapter, it's going to tell you that this is another warning about an immoral woman. However, if you read into it and if you really look at what it's saying, we're going to see some pretty key points in here. All right, so let's start reading chapter 7, verse 1. Follow my advice, my son. Always treasure my commands. Obey my commands and live. Guard my instructions as you guard your own eyes. Tie them on your fingers as a reminder. Write them deep within your heart. Love wisdom like a sister. Make insight a beloved member of your family. Let them protect you from an affair with an immoral woman, from listening to the flattery of a promiscuous woman. Now, I love, we've been seeing this over and over again, pretty much in every chapter so far, I think, that it starts with, listen, you got to listen to wisdom. You got to understand that there's more going on here than meets the eye. You got to understand that you need to have a firm foundation. You need to listen to wisdom. Listen to wisdom. Starting again in verse 6, while I was at the window of my house looking through the curtain, I saw some naive young men, and one in particular who lacked common sense. And we're going to get back to that in a minute. Verse 9, he was crossing the street near the house of an immoral woman, strolling down the path by her house. It was at twilight in the evening, as deep darkness fell. The woman approached him, seductively dressed and sly of heart. She was the brash, rebellious type, never content to stay at home. She is often in the streets and markets, soliciting at every corner. She threw her arms around him and kissed him. And with a brazen look she said, I've just made my peace offerings and fulfilled my vows. You're the one I was looking for. I came out to find you, and here you are. My bed is spread with beautiful blankets, with colored sheets of Egyptian linen. I've perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let's drink our fill of love until morning. Let's enjoy each other's caresses, for my husband is not home. He's away on a long trip. He has taken a wallet full of money with him and won't return until later this month. So she seduced him with her pretty speech and enticed him with her flattery. He followed her at once like an ox going to the slaughter. He was like a stag caught in a trap, awaiting the arrow that would pierce its heart. He was like a bird flying into a snare, little knowing it would cost him his life. So listen to me, my sons, and pay attention to my words. Don't let your hearts stray away toward her. Don't wander down her wayward path, for she has been the ruin of many. Many men have been her victims. Her house is the road to the grave. Her bedroom is the den of death. Now, of course, we said this when we were reading chapter 5. If you're, this could be just as easily said to a woman about a man. This could be easily said to anyone who is in this kind of situation. But what I want to look at today that really stuck out to me in Proverbs chapter 7, I was reading some notes, and I've got a study Bible, and I was reading some notes in it, and it kind of drew me towards looking at verse 6 and verse 7. If you read verse 6 and 7 again, it says, while I was at the window of my house, looking through the curtain, I saw some naive young men, but here's the real kicker, and one in particular who lacked common sense. One in particular who lacked common sense. Now, we've talked about this so far. You're seeing this as a theme throughout the Proverbs, that within this, if you do not have a firm foundation of truth, then when questions come or when opportunities that you normally might not go down that path because you shouldn't go down that path, if you haven't actually prepared yourself with wisdom, sound judgment, and a good foundation of what you believe, you can easily be swayed to go down a path you don't want to go down. And as long as we're in that position where we don't truly know who we are, we don't truly know what we believe, we don't truly know what we're looking for in life, then when something comes along and presents itself as an opportunity, then it ends up being a thing where we can actually end up falling into it. Not that we necessarily wanted to. In fact, I've met lots of people who had a firm, I don't want to do this, but allowed life to talk them into doing it. Why? Because we can convince ourselves of pretty much anything, can't we? And when we don't have a firm foundation, when we don't have a firm belief system for ourselves, it can be easy to allow situations to entice us enough that we're willing to talk ourselves into letting it happen. And then we talk ourselves into how it wasn't so bad. And then we talk ourselves into, well, at least grace covers us. And then we talk ourselves into all of these types of things that end us up in a place, like it says in the end of the chapter, if you read it again in verse 27, verse 26 and 27, she's been the ruin of many. Many men have been her victims. Her house is the road to the grave. Her bedroom is the den of death. Now, it might be not the grave or death that you're following, but a part of you might die. A part of you might die. And if you think about it, not even just in the context of what it's saying here, but if you look beneath the surface a little bit and you begin to look at how things in our lives come to us as opportunities. Maybe you're a business owner and an opportunity comes to make some money, but it's maybe not in the best way possible. And all you have to do is compromise your values just a little bit. Or all you have to do is turn and look away for just a moment. Or all you need to do is let somebody do something you wouldn't normally let them do, but it's going to line your pocket. And that's one of those things. If you don't have a firm foundation about what you believe, if you don't have a solid truth about, no, this is how I'm going to live my life, this is the standard that I live by, then those are the types of situations that you can get led into and end up giving yourself over to something that you never wanted to in the first place, right? This is more than just another warning about an immoral woman. If you look at what he says here in verse 7, it says, and one in particular who lacked common sense. And that's where we're at. We have to ask ourselves, what is our foundation? What is the truth that we believe? What is it that we are going to armor ourselves with when opportunity comes, because opportunity does come. Opportunity does come. If you read through this and you see what this immoral woman does, I mean, let's call this a parable for a second. Let alone the fact that this is exactly word for word what we need to watch for. Okay, the Proverbs is calling out sexual immorality, and good for Proverbs. I mean, this is good stuff right here. We need to be aware of it, and we need to be able to advocate for sexual morality. Right? We need to be on the side of like, this is what God has called us to. And we are able to live a life that is healthy in this way. And we don't have to give in to all of the things that the world would say, oh, well, this is just how it is. No, it's not just how it is. It's what we've allowed it to become. But God set a standard. God set something in place in His Word that if we live by it, man, we're blessed. We're blessed if we live by what God has put in His instruction, in His Word. And so over time, we've allowed the world to, and I say we as the, proverbial we. I'm not saying you particularly or me particularly, but we've allowed the world to talk us into, oh, this is just how it is, and we all just make our own decisions, and it's all just okay. But the reality is God set a standard for us to live by, and Proverbs says that very clearly. Okay, but if you take this and you look at it also as almost a parable and say, look, okay, so what is this really talking about, or what can we pull from this? You see the progression of things and how things present themselves, right? If you look at how, if you read in the Gospels, when Jesus is led into the desert and he's tempted by the devil goes through this process of trying to sweet talk Jesus into giving up on his mission. And it's always what he's always done. If you look at the book of Genesis, right? Adam and Eve, what does he do? He tries to sweet talk them into giving up their inheritance, which is this beautiful Garden of Eden, this paradise that they live in. Oh, did God really say? Oh, well, God doesn't really mean that. Oh, God is really just saying that because he's trying to trick you. All of these things, okay? And so you see in here, in the way that the writer of this chapter, in chapter 7 says, right? Number one, she threw her arms around his neck and kissed him in verse 13, where it's just like, it's this assault of something. You're not even expecting it. It doesn't say that he got a little too close to the scenario, but she throws his arms around him and kisses him. It's like, have you ever been in a situation where maybe you're getting a little too close to things that you shouldn't be around, but suddenly it just almost like it assaults you. And now you have to either push it away or you end up giving into it, okay? So there's that first step, right? Then she sweet talks him with, oh, well, I've just given all my peace offerings and I've just done oh, I'm just such a good girl. I've just done all of this, and you know what? It's actually you I've been looking for. You ever feel like sin has kind of targeted you, where something has kind of pinpointed you? Oh, you're the one I've been looking for. I want you to be whatever. You know, I thought about you. We could do this deal and make a little extra money. I thought about you. Whatever the scenario is, it presents itself as like, oh, you're the key. I've been thinking about you. This is all about you, right? When really what's happening is that situation is trying to get something from you, right? Oh, I've perfumed my bed. Come, let us drink our fill of love. Let's enjoy each other. It's all of these like enticing. And then she gets into, my husband isn't even here. He's gone away. He's taken money with him. He's not going to be here until later this month. Removing the you're even going to get caught. How many times do scenarios present themselves and a follow-up line is, don't worry, no one will know. Don't worry, no one will see this. No one will catch us. I mean, like, you know, everybody does it. Everybody does it. It's fine. It's like, it's not a big deal. And so she uses all of these things to try and draw him in. And what happens is he gets drawn in like a doe getting right into a trap, like a bird caught in a net, right? And then at that point, it's too late. The arrow's already been shot right at the doe's heart. That's what it says. So there's this thing, okay? There's this thing of, if we don't have a firm foundation about what we believe, then when situations present themselves to us, it's harder for us to stand up and say, well, no, I actually don't live my life that way. No, I actually don't do that. No, I'm actually not even going to get close to that scenario, because that scenario, I can smell it. I can smell it from a mile away. It's nothing I want to be part of. But if you don't have a firm foundation of what you believe, if you don't have a firm foundation of who you are and what God says you are and what God says in His Word about what right living is, what's going to happen? You're going to get led down that path. Or at least the opportunity is going to present itself, and then you have less of a chance to be able to just say, listen, that's not me. I'm sorry, it's not me. You do you, bub, but it's not me. All right. Bless you today. I hope this is working for you. I hope this is good for you. I'm enjoying reading the Proverbs. Don't worry, not every other chapter is about the promiscuous woman. But we'll read chapter 8 tomorrow, okay? And I'll see you tomorrow at some point. All right? Can't say when. I don't know when, but I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you.